Okay, well, welcome everyone. My name is Keith Hensley. Today's webinar is on CMAs inside of Matrix. It is scheduled for an hour, but if it shouldn't take up the entire time, but we'll go through it, and then at the end we'll open it up to questions and answers. So feel free to type in your questions on the right-hand side in the question box. And Stan Harkey is online with me also, so he can help answer these questions. And he might be able to unmute himself and jump in and answer a question maybe I'm not familiar with or something like that. My name is Keith Hensley. I'm with CoreLogic, and many of you have already known me with a lot of the training classes we've done. Here's an email address, matrix@ristinc.com. Please make sure if you have any questions, suggestions, issues, problems, let us know. Stan and I both get access to this email address here, and we'll be glad to help you with that. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into Matrix here. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do here is get started with a CMA inside of Matrix. To be honest, it's really a lot like Fusion. If you've ever done a CMA within Fusion or ML Exchange, the steps are very similar to that here. So if you've ever taken any of the training classes on CMAs over the years, whether it's ML Exchange or Fusion, I always taught that there's two ways to do a CMA. Well, there's the official way. So if you read the training manual, the official way always said something like, go under My Matrix and then click on My CMAs. And then when you go into CMAs, this is your CMA manager. Well, it would always have you say, well, to start a CMA, click on this link right here that says Start a New CMA. Once you click on that, very similar, like I said, to Fusion and ML Exchange, we had the little wizard going across. Now in ML Exchange or Fusion, this wizard was going down the side over here. Well, this is just going across the top. Not exactly the same tabs that we had, but very similar to it here. So this first step of creating a CMA, the official way, the formal way, and I'm going to show you my way, which I think is easier, but you'll see where the two collide into one path. So it's just two different ways, but they take you to the same process. So once again, the official way, the first step this way, is under My Matrix and under My CMAs, and then clicking on Start a New CMA. Here, the first tab you're on is this Start tab up here at the top left. It's asking you to pick your client, and for this sake, I'm just going to pick on Stan here. He's going to be my client, and if my client was not in my list, I could always create a new contact right here too. Well, then the next step would be to go to step 2 here, Pages. Well, as you can see over here, we don't have any pages selected. Here are the available pages. I'm going to get into this a little bit more in depth here. So if I open this up here in a bit, but if I open this up, you can see there's several pages here. And if you click on each one individually, you notice it pulls them over here. Just pulls them over. And then if I click on this, the actual header itself, you notice over here on the right, every page comes over if you click on the top part. As I add these pages here, now you can start to see that the rest of the tabs are filled or available for me, because before they were not available. They were in essence turned off because I didn't have any pages selected. So as I start adding pages, these appropriate tabs started highlighting for me. So then what you do to do a CMA is just go to your next step, go to your next step, go to your next step, and on this step here, step 5, I know it doesn't say step 5, but it's the 5th step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is now asking us to select our comps. Well, I don't have any comps in here. So what it's asking me to do is do a search for them. or I can pull them in from a tax record from the tax database here. So you're going to see this screen again. Like I said, I'm just going to hit this X up here at the top to delete the CMA. But that is the formal way of starting a CMA. And you're going to see my way is going to lead us right back to that same tab there, but I'm going to start in a different way. So let me go back to the home page. If you're taking notes, here's what I recommend as the proper way of doing a CMA. So I'm going to show you my way, step 2, and then I'll come back and I'll go back to step 1 again and show you just exactly how they differ, or the starting point here. So my first step to doing a CMA is to do your search first. Let's search our comps. That's the most important part of a CMA, is searching for comparable property. So pick your property type and go to search and search for your criteria. Well, I think when we're doing CMAs, I think we all would agree that we need solds in here. So I'm going to pick solds, and you can see here I've got 180 days back on my solds. I could also use the calendar over here. 180 days back is 6 months back. I can also change this and go back 90 days, or change it to 120 days, or even a full year, 365 days here. But I think in this case, 180 days is just fine for us. I think a lot of us would also agree that not only do we want solds, but we like to have actives too, because I want to see what the good side of the market is indicating. But I also want to compare it to those that are in competition with my client, which in my example here is going to be Stan. So Stan's trying to sell his house. He comes to me as his realtor, and he wants me to do a comparative market analysis for him. So I want to show him the solds in his neighborhood, but I also want to show him the actives, the contingents, and I even like to do pendings. Now, I'm going to show you my searching method here. I'm not going to get into a lot of ways. I'll just show you some of mine, but by all means, you guys are the experts. Hopefully, you know how to search for comps, but I will say, while I'm in this section on searching for comps, please, if you have any struggles, like, hey, I think searching for this is a good thing, but I'm struggling with it in Matrix, this would be a good time to maybe type in a little question on the right-hand side and let me know, because while I'm on this section, I could answer those questions on different searching problems or techniques and things like that, okay? So I'm going to search for actives, contingents, and pendings. And some of you might even like to do expired listings here out there. Now, Stan is on this call here, and Stan, just something I noticed here, I kind of wish we would switch expired and pendings, because I think active, contingent, and pendings should be all grouped together, and then expires down here. And then I think the expires need to have 180 days back, such as this. And I think pending shouldn't have any date range in there, because I just want any pending listings. So I almost think we need to reverse those two, but that's just my comments there, my what I've seen and what I think out there. But you do what you want with this, Dan, but I just thought I'd mention that there to you. Okay. Okay. Now, some people do use expireds in their CMAs, and I kind of agree with that, because I want to show them what didn't sell, what houses were probably overpriced out there. Okay, so sometimes you can do that. Now, I'm not going to do expires in this CMA part here. Okay, and some people will even do withdrawals and even mutual release. I don't know if I agree with that or not, but that's up to you guys. You guys are the realtors. You guys are the experts. I'm just kind of showing you 16 years of doing CMAs with a lot of realtors across the country, some of the ideas I've seen and heard out there. But in the end, you guys do your searching for comps any way you want to. I think this is a great time to use a map search. Unless we have some people wanting me to show them how to search by maps, I won't do a search for maps at the time. I might come back and show you how to do a map search because I do think this is a great time. So for instance, and like I said, I didn't really want to get into this, but for instance, if I was doing a CMA for Stan's house, I might want to do 1 mile of his address here. And then instead of using city or instead of using area or subdivision or school district, I could say 1 mile of his house. And then it would pull up a radius of his house. Or I can always go in and do a map search and use the polygon and actually outline the area that his house sits in and do a CMA that way. So unless there's really a lot of questions, and maybe I can save the mapping search towards the end of the this webinar. I don't want to get into the mapping searching now, but like I said, I do think it's a great thing to do for CMA. You could do city, you could do areas. You really want to fine-tune it to the territory that he lives in. So he lives in Troy, so I'm going to use area 701. Or I could have done city here. I could have done township or subdivision or school district. You decide which geographical fields you want to do. Okay. Then I'm going to go up here. I don't like using price because that's why we're doing a CMA 4. I'm trying to find houses like his in his neighborhood, and I want the system to tell me what the highest and lowest price is out there. But there's nothing wrong with doing a ballpark range for price, but I'm going to kind of leave that blank for now. Now, I'm just pretending that Stan's house, now this is not exactly what Stan's house is like, but I'm just going to pretend that his house is a 3-bedroom house and it's got 2 full baths here. I'm also going to say that it's a 1-story house, and I'm also going to say it's got 1,600 square feet. So I'm going to probably search for 200 square feet below and 200 square feet above his. You can adjust that. If we're not getting a lot of comps, we could make it 1,300 to 1,900 or so forth there. If he lives in a certain neighborhood where houses were built in a certain time period, you know, the 70s or 80s, you know, you could also do that. Garages might be another field you search by here. Okay, so far we've got 42 matches. What I want to do is go ahead and go from the criteria to the results. I'm just kind of getting a sneak peek at what we've got here. So far I've got 8 actives, 1 contingent, and 3 pending ones. So I could go right back to my criteria and throw in some other stuff here. Maybe I'll do foundation. Maybe he doesn't have a basement, so I'll just say it's a slab. Now I'm down to 23 houses. Because I don't think I want to compare his house to a house that has a basement, whether it's full or partial. I don't think I want to do that. If his house doesn't have a basement, then I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to go back and forth, and now I can see I'm down to 3 actives, 2 pendings, and a bunch of solds. Actually, I got a lot of solds here. So since I've got a lot of solds, I could go back to my criteria and say, you know what, instead of 6 months, let's go back to the last 3 months. It's been a very busy market in the last 3 months. So that way, instead of 6 months back on solds, we'll just get some more recent solds here. And now we're down to 15 total, and 5 of them are active or pending, and the other 10 are sold. So hopefully you understand this first step. The first step is searching for your comps, however you want to do that. Okay, and if there's not a field on here you like to search for, you can always come down here and use add more fields and add more criteria to your search here. And if there's anything here that I didn't cover, and like I said, I will show you the mapping search at the end of this CMA webinar with the question and answer part. But after you do the most important part of searching for your comps, now you've got to do the second most important part. You got to find or select your comps. Now I got a lot of them here. You're going to spend another great amount of time looking for comps. What little suggestion I think is great for you to do is, instead of using this here, you could create your own CMA display. And my CMA display has fields in here like the original listing price and a list price and a sold price there. Okay. And I see Cindy, you said add on the adding fields. Can you make those that always include, for example, lakefront and channel? Yes, exactly, Cindy here. Back here on the criteria, one of the fields I like to add the most is one called special feature. Special features has things like channel, lakefront, lake related. So especially if you're up near the lake, St. Mary's or Indian Lake here, you can add this field here. All you do is, I've already added that field. So all you need to do is go in fact, let me take it out here real quick, and go down and type in special features, add it, and then when you go back, you've already got that field, and it'll stay in here until you take that field out. But that's just one field. I think ownership might be another one if you'd like to search for bank-owned or auction properties or new financing. There's just a lot of fields you could do. And the nice thing is, once you add it, it stays there until you take it out. It'll stay there. Okay. So yeah, if Stan did live near a lake or on a lake, I think that's also something I'd want to search for. Now, so up here is maybe something I'll also show you at the end of this this webinar. We'll go through it, but what I did was I had this grid, the one that we all get, but just whet your appetite a little bit. You can create your own. See how mine up here says my this, my that. I've created my own CMA single line display, and it shows me some more information up here. You know, like what it originally was, what it listed for, and then what it ended up selling for. And you could add some other stuff up here. And you notice some of these icons, like the tax and the attachments, these icons over here on the right, I just moved these over and I put them in the order that I like them in. Okay, I even moved over the history one here. Okay, so that's something that could help you when researching and trying to find your comparable properties, is having your own customized grid here. So now that I've done my search, now I need to pick my comps. Well, I like to have 3 actives and 3 solds. So between these 3 actives and 2 pendings, I'm just going to randomly guess at some here and pick some. So please don't hold me to this. I'm just randomly selecting on some. And then I'm going to come over here and randomly select on 3 solds. So that's the second most important part. You pick the comps that you like. Now, once you've done the first part and you search, then the second part, find the comps that you like. Now you've got some tools down here at the bottom. Well, you've got a quick CMA here, and you've got the regular CMA, and you've also got the stats tab down below. Here again, just like Fusion and just like ML Exchange, we had a stats, we had a quick CMA, and we had a regular CMA button here. So after I pick those 6 comps and I hit the quick CMA, this is just going to open it up and show me the active ones, the stats on the active ones here, and then the sold properties. Okay. Now they're all 3 and 2s on bedrooms and bathrooms. You know why? Because I searched for exactly 3 bedrooms and exactly 2 full baths. So of course my beds and baths will be exact matches. Now my square feet here, you can see the minimum, maximum, average, and median here. So that kind of helps me. And some people use this as their CMA. And what you could do is, let me close this down here, is when you click on that, and it opens up this one pager, you could actually use this page, go up here to the top, and you could print it out, but what you could also do is download this. You could download it to your computer, and then when I go into the full CMA, add this page into my full CMA packets. Okay, so just remember that when I go in here. So this could be one of the pages I add into my CMA here. Okay. There is also, like I said, the stats button. If I click on the stats and I click on tabular, it also does a kind of the same thing as that previous page did. It's a little more cleaner, I guess you could say. It breaks down the three axes to the three solds, and then it tallies up all 6 of them combined here. And once again, I could print this out and use that as a page that I add into my CMA package there. Okay. But the bottom line is I want to use this CMA. This is the full-fledged CMA with all those pages in it. So after I pick the 6, I now click on this, and guess where it takes me to? It takes me to the same spot that I just showed you at the very beginning. But when I get to step 5 here, notice all these tabs up here are grayed out. It's because I don't have any pages in here yet. But when I do and I get to step 5, I'm going to have those 6 comps in my list already. Okay. So same thing. Stan is not my list. I add him here. Otherwise, I come up here and I pick them. And then I go from step 1 to step 2, which is my pages. And here you'll notice I don't have any pages in here. Well, what I encourage you to do, if you don't know what these pages look like, I encourage you to pull them all over. So click on the header and it pulls them both, all the pages that are in here. Okay, see how quick and easy that is to pull them all over. So just from the start, you're going to probably want to look at them all, and then once you look at them, you can come back and take out the ones you don't like, and then you can set it as your default down here. Okay. Now, because you're not going to need 2 cover sheets. In fact, if you don't like our 2 cover sheets here, you could go down here to the bottom and upload your own page. So maybe you've already got a really nice cover sheet. Maybe your company has a really nice cover sheet. Well, as long as it's on your computer as a PDF file, just click on that, browse your computer and find that file, and then upload it. And then you don't have to use our cover sheet. We'll use your cover sheet. And if there's any other pages besides the cover sheets, you can use out there. Okay. And by the way, I want to talk about static pages. A lot of people may not know what static pages are. Static pages are pages that never change. So they say the same information no matter how many houses you find. All these other ones are based on how many properties you find, because it's got different calculations and different information based on the properties that you pick for your CMA. But these down here are just, I guess you could say fluff, or just pages. What they do, one of them is set for setting the price, the importance of pricing, the benefits of using a realtor, the effect of overpricing, my guarantee to you, just some stuff that I think they look nice. Some of them do. Now, you're not going to use all of them, but I think some of these look very nice, and I think some of these are much nicer than what we had in Fusion or ML Exchange. So, but that's up to you to add whichever ones you like here. I just want to mention that there. Once you've got them over here, something else you can do is pick the one you like, the benefits of using a realtor. The X would get rid of it, and the arrows would move it up and down. So maybe you like it, but you want to put it right after your cover sheet. And maybe you like my guarantee to you. Maybe you like that one too, and you want to put that right up here too. Okay. Now, like I said, you can upload your own pages. So if you don't like ours, maybe you got something very similar to this, you could get rid of ours just by hitting the X here and then upload your own. Something we do not have that we did have in ML Exchange and Fusion, and I really hope we can enhance Matrix someday to do this. But what you were able to do in ML Exchange and Fusion is pick one of these reports and edit or modify them. So it would take the same pages, but then you could go in and change the wording and the stuff around. You cannot do that in Matrix. So it's what it is what you get there. You either use it or you don't use it. There's no modification tool to these pages in here. Okay, so that's something we do know of, and I do hope someday we will make it to where we can make report changes and stuff like that to it. So if you don't like them, just once again, upload your own pages here. So I added every page in here so we can take a look at it, and then we can come back and take out the pages we don't like and then set it as our default. And you don't have to go through this again. We'll just keep using what you have set as your default. So that's the second one. Now that as I was adding these pages, these were starting to turn on for me as I added a page that referenced one of these tabs up here. Now when I go to subject page, now I got some options here. Do I manually want to type in my fields? In fact, let me click on this top one here. This is Stan's house. So I can manually type in his street number, street name, his zip code, city, state, zip code, bids, baths, upload a picture of his property here, put in remarks and all that good stuff. And if I come down here, we've got some custom fields that I could put in here. Okay. Well, that's one thing I could do, but let's say Stan's house was in the MLS. Well, I could type in that MLS number of what it was and use that one to get started. And I'm going to show you real quick. This is not Stan's house, okay? So I'm just going to type in an MLS number here. Pretend that's what Stan's house was. It was listed before. Type in the MLS number, hit fill, and it's going to throw in all this information that I just threw in there. Now, I can still, even though I use that old MLS number, I can still come in here and get rid of certain things. You know, maybe get rid of that previous MLS number, maybe Stan's tax year. Maybe I got 2016 taxes instead, and it was marked up to $615. Maybe take out that previous listing price. So I'm using the previous information on it, but I want to get rid of or change some of the fields in here. And maybe I don't like this listing photo. Maybe I've got my own listing photo out there. Cindy, that's a good question. You shouldn't be able to use another realtor's photos, work or stuff. That's up to the MLS. I typically, this is a CMA. We're not using this to list the property. We're just doing it there. But I hear you, Cindy, and that's not my call. That's something that I do typically see left on, but that's something you can discuss with Stan on and everything. But we're not using it to relist it. We're just using it to for a CMA. And it goes both ways. I mean, it's going to help me out, but yet then again, if this is my listing, it could help out someone else doing a CMA too. So, yeah. So, good point. Good point. So I could either fill it from start or type it in or do a search for it. Maybe I know it was, or I'm not sure if it was. So instead of me knowing the MLS number, I could search for it here. But here's another thing you could do. Instead of me typing in manually, I can fill it in from the tax records. So by clicking on that and then picking the county that Stan's house sits in, then I could type in his street number, street name, and find it, and it'll auto-populate it, not as much as what I just did here, but it's going to auto-populate it as much as possible from the tax records. So a lot of these fields won't be filled in, and the picture won't be filled in because tax records doesn't have that. But here again, I could just kind of save me some time here by typing in manually here. And if I did borrow someone else's listing, I don't think I want to have their remarks in it. I want to have my own remarks here. And I might want to map it to make sure it's mapped right. And like I said, if I don't like their picture, I could use my picture instead. And if I scroll down here, here are the custom fields. So maybe Stan's house. Let me look back up in this list here. How about something like fireplace? Okay, I don't see fireplace in this list, but if I think that's something that's very important to do a CMA for, I could come in here and add a new field called fireplace. Now I could either type it in manually here, or I could link it to a matrix field. And we do have a field already in here called fireplace within matrix. Right here, fireplace. So I'm going to link it to that field. So there, that little chain link means it's linked. So here I could say he's got a wood burning fireplace. Then I could add, instead of link it to matrix, I could say, you know, curb appeal. Okay, this is something that is not in the MLS. Maybe Stan spent a lot of time updating his landscaping, you know, the curb appeal out front, and maybe he updated, you know, $1,000 worth. So I just want to let him know that I recognize that he spent a lot of time fixing up his curb appeal, and I want to give him credit. So when I compare this house to another property, maybe the other one is not the same. Maybe their curb appeal is different there. Okay, so that's the information there. The picture is off to the left. Can't see anything, Cindy. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Cindy. Picture's off to the left. Okay, I'm not really sure. Okay, Stan, if you think of something that Cindy's talking about, maybe let me know, but I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Cindy. Sorry about that. Okay, now what's nice is if these are fields that I typically like to do all the time, the slide is way to the left, not to the right. Yeah, I think, Cindy, you're talking about this. It's just because my screen resolution, I've got a lot of wasted space here on the right, just because of my screen resolution. A lot of people have that GoToWebinar thing over here on the right-hand side, so I'm scooting everything on my screen to the far left of it here. But what's nice is if I'm constantly adding all these custom fields here, I could save this as my default. And I won't have to keep adding these 2 fields, or 3 or 4 or 5 of them here. They'll always be here for me. But I'm not going to save it. So if I do another CMA, then if I come back, these will not be here because I'm not saving it as a default. But the chain link means it's pulling it from the matrix. The non-chain link here means I'm just manually typing it in myself here. Okay. Okay, so that's subject property. Hopefully no questions on that there. Hi, Michael. You can't use previous MLS photos unless you get permission from former agent. Yeah, so Michael, yeah, talk with Stan about that. I agree with you when it comes to actually listing the property, but when it actually, we're not listing it here. We're just using it for a CMA. We're not, if I go and actually submit it live, you know, making this, now once I get this listing, I'm not allowed to use that person, but I'm not adding this property as a listing. I'm just using it as a CMA there. CMA should be fine. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it. I think so too, Michael. I think so too, just I can't use it when adding it there. Right. Okay. Okay. So that's the subject property here. I do think this is good to fill in. Okay. I do think this is good to fill in with the subject property, because when I get to the final part, the finished parts, you're going to see them side by side. And if I leave this tab blank, the first section on my side by sides are going to be blank. Okay. So I think this is good to fill in. After subject, I'm going to get into the cover sheets. Okay, this is the cover sheet. If I have a subject property photo, it will pull the photo over. I can browse and upload a different one if I don't like it. You notice it has my information, but I don't have my photo here. I don't want to jump into it now, but under my matrix, my information, there is a tab that talks about my CMA cover sheet. And if I already uploaded my my sheet there, this would already be uploaded too, but I didn't. So what I could do is go ahead and hit edit my information, change my photo here, find my regular one that I use, or I can browse. Now that it's baseball season and the Reds had a horrible season, I can change it and find a different photo here. or actually I already got one here. See, I can change this by regular photo. There's my normal photo right there. Okay, no, I'm joking. Okay, so I'll just use that one there. And then I can just make sure all this is right. And this is my cover sheet. Okay, I'll just go ahead and save it here. And you'll see this information show up. Let me hit back to CMA down here. Okay, see there's my photo, my information. There's Stan's information. No, that is not his correct address. So if you want to go and toilet paper his house, that is not his proper house there. Okay. Call me and I'll tell you what his address is, and I'll help you go toilet paper his house. Okay. Okay, I hope you don't get toilet paper this weekend, Stan, so sorry about that. Okay, we do comparables. Now, remember, if I would have came in that first way and did my CMA, remember it was blank, and there's no comps, and I had to go and search for them. Well, now it's already done. In fact, there's my comps. It tells me the all the information here, and I believe we can even change. Remember that CMA grid? They don't carry over into here because this is a different grid display. If you remember when I first started this CMA, I was on that grid and I said you can move these grids around and stuff. Well, this is a different grid that it's using. But what I could do is just click on here and remove this field and add whatever fields I like. But by the time you get to this point, I've already picked my comps. So I don't know if I really need to change this around, but you can. I just want to let you know you can change this around, and then you can use this little piece of paper up here, and your screen might be, because of this GoToWebinar, you might be hiding what I'm showing over here to you. It's a little part where you can save this display here. Okay. So I don't think you're going to want to change this grid here. You'll probably want to change the previous grid, but not this one. But you can. You still can though. So here's my comps. Let's say I came back in 2 months later, 3 months later. I can still use this add from listings box, and it remembers my search criteria from a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month, 2 months ago. Okay. So if I want to kind of freshen up my CMA, let me hit my back button down here. I can. So remember that one. Let's say I know there's a for sale by owner right down the street from me, and it's not in the MLS. Well, I can't find it and put it in here because my search was from the MLS, but I could go in and do a tax search. So by clicking on the tax search, now what I could do is type in a street number, street name, and pick the county and search for that for sale by owner. I could also come over here and do a comparable search selection. So I could say, you know what, I want to find all listings that were sold since October 1st, today's December 15th. Let me click on December 15th, and it's going to pick everything from October 1st to today's dates with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and within a mile of Stan's address here. Okay, I could type in his street number, street name, and pick Miami County here, and hit results, and it's going to show me searches. Let me do this real quick. I'm just going to do Market Street there in Troy, Miami. Okay, it's going to do everything within a mile going back to October 1st with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in Miami County in Troy. And now I'm actually doing a search in the tax records, not the MLS. Over here, you can see, and I don't know, okay, the mailing city, you know what that is? The property is in Troy, but the owner lives in West Milton. So I almost think we might need to change it from mailing city to the property city there. Okay, but over here, you can get information. It might help you find some more comps. I might have to play with this a little bit more here. And you notice, I think if I go back to my criteria here, I think maybe even adding square feet might be a good thing to add on here too, because I think that's an important thing to help narrow down. But what we're doing here, we're searching by tax records, and you could add more for sale by owners in here, and then you just pick it. In fact, let me pick this one up here, 324 Market. It's got 3 beds, 2 bathrooms. Now the square feet is more than what Stan's house has, and it was built a lot longer ago here. But I'm just going to use this for my example here. And once I do that, I should hit Find Comparables, and it should add that property to my list here. Actually, it didn't. Oh, there we go. Okay. No, I hit Find. I'm sorry. My bad. Let me add this one here. Now it says Add Selected. Okay. Show listing compatible. This is, okay, these are my comps from my listing, and these are my comps from the tax. I thought they should be on the same screen. Okay, but I think they will put it on both. When I go to the CMA itself, I think it'll have these 6 along with that 7th one, the tax records there. I think the reason why it's on 2 different tabs here is just because this is the tax records. It's got different fields on it, and the listing has different fields on it there. Might have to look at that. I kind of wish we put them on one page together instead of 2 separate ones there. So, okay. And then you can also, let's say you were using a system previously and you'd found some comps, and I threw it into Stan's cart. Well, up here, I can go in here and say, okay, you know what? I added some listings, and it was in Alice's cart earlier. Well, I could pick that one property and add it to his CMA here. Okay, I don't think that's used that often. I think most of the time you're just going to add it from a listing search, possibly from a tax search. And a cart is just if you know you saved it there from a previous search there. And then of course, if I come back in later, you can pick these listings, and then you can remove them out there. And then you can map this here. And now the property I did on Williams Avenue, remember I just typed in an MLS number and I assumed it was Stan's. It was actually a listing up in Bell Fountain. Okay, I think if you do this, it's actually going to be on, I think it's actually going to be in Troy, hopefully. Okay, so don't pick a subject property that's way out of the area here. And then adjustments. Okay, adjustments are always tough. Here are the 6 houses, the 3 actives I had and the 3 solds that I had, and here's the one that was a for sale by owner. Remember that one I added from the tax records? That's right here on Plum. So what I could do is you can see right here exactly what they have. And if you scroll to the very end over here, you can see the curb appeal, and remember the fireplace that I added here. So here I can come down and say this one has no fireplace, no FP. This one here, you can see it's got 1. Here's where you, oh, I'm sorry. Let me take this out. Here's where you'd actually say how much you're going to make adjustments. Are you going to subtract or add? Okay. Since this one has 1 wood-burning fireplace, that's $0, so I don't need to make an adjustment there. This one here on Plum, if it had no fireplace, well, do I subtract $10,000 or do I add $10,000? Okay, and who's to say it's $10,000? Okay, I'm just guessing here. I'm not an appraiser. So I recommend, unless you really feel comfortable knowing how much to make a price adjustment, I would encourage you not to type in anything here, okay? But you can see exactly where these houses differ at and throw in your dollar amount here. But I really don't feel comfortable doing this, but if you do, feel free. So like full baths, Stan's house got 2 full baths. This one only has 1. So what's the price of difference there? In this case, I would add a price value for a full bath. instead of subtract. Here, I would subtract a half bath because his house doesn't have a half bath. Okay. The adjustments are always tricky. I really don't like advising people just because I'm not an appraiser and I don't feel comfortable with that. So you're on your own if you want to do that. Pricing tab up here. The pricing tab, you've got, it just tells you the lowest, the medium, the average, and the highest, and it's after, here, the bottom line here is after I make my price adjustments out here. The one is $0 because that's my for sale by owner, I believe. It threw that off because I think it had the selling price as $0, that's why. Down here was the suggested list price. I can click on this and type in, well, I think we should list it for, the average is 135. I say we make it 139. Oop, 139, 900. And then down here in the notes, I can say, I think it will sell for this because, and you explain your reasoning for this here. Okay, so whatever you type in here will print out on when I get to my finish page here. So then when I hit my finish, you can see all the pages that I have here. You can see the subject property picture I had. I can email this, but before I email it to Stan, I think I'm going to want to look at it. So I'm going to click on View CMA. And this is your opportunity to look at all those pages. And I had everyone selected, so just give us a moment here. It's going to pull these pages down. Okay, so here's my first page, the first cover sheet. Here's the second one. Okay, I think I kind of like the second one better. So if I go back to my tab, see, all it did was open up a new tab when I open up all those pages. So what I could do is go back to my matrix tab, go back to the pages tab, and between these two pages, which one did I like better? I like the second one, so I don't need that first one. I'm going to highlight it and hit the X and get rid of it. So now my next page after that cover sheet should be the benefits of using a realtor. So if I go up here and I scroll down, here's my benefits of using a professional realtor. I might say, okay, I kind of like that. So I'm going to leave that page there. The next one is going to be the summary list, or I'm sorry, my guarantee to you. So if I go down here, here's my guarantee to you, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? I don't know if I really like this page. So let me go back here, pick my guarantee to you, and take that one out. Now the next one's summary list. Well, let's see if I like this one. Okay, there's my subject property, and there's that for sale by owner. There's my subject property and the 3 actives. There's my subject property and the 3 solds. It kind of lists them. Kind of like that page. So let me keep that one. The next one's my pricing adjustments. If I go up here, I can go down to my pricing adjustments. Okay, there's my first one, my subject property, Stan's house. And remember, if I had left that tab blank and not filled that in, this would all be empty in this first row, and I'd only be looking at 2 houses here. Well, since I added Stan's house, I'm looking at the first 2, I'm looking at that for sale by owner on Plum, and then the first active one. If I go down to the next page, I'm looking at his house and the next 2 active ones. See the actives? And if I go down the next page, it's Stan's house and the first 2 solds, and then the next one is Stan's house and the third sold. So I could have almost picked 4 actives and 4 solds because there's 2 per page along with Stan's house here. So I like that pricing adjustment one. Okay, and in fact, if I scroll down, remember the one I made a adjustment of fireplace and curb appeal. Okay, and I think it was on that for sale by owner. So let's go back to that for sale by owner. No, I actually took it out. Remember, I took it out. That's right. Okay, but there's where those adjustments would come in at. And see, here's total adjustments and adjusted price. If I would have left that dollar amount in there, it would have adjusted it down here. But I like that. Next one, I just want to go through the rest of these kind of quick here. Minimums and maximums. If I go down past this, I get into the minimums and maximums. It just shows me out of my entire list, the minimum and maximum was this and was that. I don't see much of a benefit to this page, so I take that one out. Next one is days on market. There's a little graph with each property there, the MLS of each property there, and tells you how long it's been on the market. The next one is a list price to sale price ratio. So remember, the first three were active listings, they didn't have a sell, and then the 3 solds, which they do have a list and a sell price. So leave that in there if you like it. Here's a brief summary of compared listings, my 3 actives, my 3 solds, with the breakdown here. Kind of like that one-line CMA that we had here. Then if I come down here, my pro report is like a little thumbnail of each house that I picked for it. CMA Pro Report just gives you some more stuff here. Now it just does it this way, a little graph. Use it if you like, take it out if you don't like it. Then we get into, I think well, here's a pricing recommendation. Okay, remember I said 139.9. That's where that throws it in. And this is where that little paragraph that I could have typed in why I think we should list it for 139. So whatever I type in, that's where it shows up there. Now we get into static pages. These are pages that never change. They kind of help you explain why you want to list your house properly, see correctly, because you're going to get the most hits, most activity on your property within the first 2 to 3 weeks. After that, it's going to start drifting off, and this kind of explains it. But there's several pages in here that kind of explain the same thing, just in different ways. So you probably don't want to pick all these, but they're just ones that you can just look through and see which ones you like better. Okay, because they're all static pages here. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to go back and say, okay, these are the pages I don't like, take them out, rearrange them, maybe even that map, move the map up a little higher. And once you're done with your CMA, you're just going to set it as your default. And then you don't have to go through this and pick all these pages. These pages will always be here for you. Just remember, you can even upload your own pages. And if you add your own page, it will throw it to the bottom. Then you can move it up or down wherever you like it. And if you set it as a default, your own custom page will be in here also. Okay. And now you notice it did auto save it for me. Okay, so if I know I'm done for sure, I could just make sure it's saved by hitting that little disk, and it's saved. Okay, and then if I go to my finish, I can now email it to my client. So if I come back in a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, 3 months later, and it's still not sold, and I kind of want to refresh that CMA, all I do is go right back into my matrix and go back to my CMA. And then I pick that one for Stan that I just created. Here's that one I started with earlier. Okay, I remember I started that first way. I'm just going to select it and get rid of it. I thought I got rid of it. There we go. Here it is. I'm going to click on it. There it is. Now 2 months later, 3 months later, I can go back in and edit the CMA. And when I go back to my comparables, well, it's been 2 or 3 months later, so what I might want to do is do a new search. Hit this add from listing search, and it remembers my criteria from 2-3 months ago. And then what I could do is do my search, and 2-3 months from now, I'm going to get some different actives, and I'm going to get some different solds. And it excludes the ones that I already have in my CMA. So that way I don't have to worry about adding the same property. I don't have to look at Catalpa or Scenic and say, did I already pick that one or not? I can't remember. Well, it should not be in here. I should not have picked it because it's in this list. This is filtering out the ones I already picked. So now I could say, you know what, I've got a new sold here. I didn't see this one, so let me add this one to my CMA and hit add to select it. And now that I added a new sold, I might want to get rid of an older sold. and let me remove that one. So that way you're keeping this fresh, and you're, you know, you don't have listings in here that are outdated anymore. Because some of these actives might be expired now or might be sold by now. So I might want to get rid of those and add some new active ones out here. Okay. And I'll just save it here. So just remember, if I go back into my CMAs, I can click on it, I can edit, I could email it, I could delete it and start over, or just view it, maybe email it to them again out there. So I think that's cool. And it keeps it 180 days from the last modified. See it up here? Your CMAs will be saved in Matrix for 180 days past the last modified dates. And will then be automatically deleted. That's the same thing we had in ML Exchange and Fusion. Because after 6 months, if you have not modified it in 6 months, we're assuming it's outdated and you haven't touched it, so we'll just get rid of it for you. But watch this one up here. I did this one back in September. Well, you can see I last modified it on December 6th. So if I want to keep any one of these CMAs, all you need to do is just click on it, hit the Edit CMA, and save it. That's it. Then when I go back into my CMAs, you can see that one here for Sandy was just last modified today at 3:59 p.m. And I've got 6 more months to go. Okay, so that's how easy it is to keep it. So just real quick recap, and if you want me to, if anyone wants me to show them how to search by a map or anything else that maybe I didn't, this did go a little bit longer than I thought. I guess I just talked too much here. So my first step to doing a CMA was my matrix, my CMAs, clicking on Start a New CMA, and remember you have to pick your client. I'll pick Alice. Then go to Pages. Pick your pages, and then start going down this list. But as soon as you get here, there's no comps, so now you have to do your search for your comps. Well, the second way of starting a CMA was just go straight and let's just start with that. Let's just start searching for our comps. Go to our results, pick those comps that you want, then come down here and hit that CMA button, and it picks those listings I had selected, and now by the time I get to my comparables tab, they're already here for me. So whichever way you want to start your CMA doesn't matter. I just like to do the search first, and I hope that makes sense to you guys. And ML Exchange and Fusion was the same way. You had the official way, but then you also had the second way that I always showed. And that's pretty much it. So if any questions, anything you need me to recap, I will be glad to do. And other than that, I think I'm pretty much done. Okay. Anything else? Anyone want me to show you the searching by the map? I did cover that in that matrix overview. I was showing you a lot of searching by map techniques out there. Creating known custom grid out there. Remember when I did my search and I got my results? Remember I said you can create your own grid up here called, and I called it my CMA grid, but you can move these grids around. Then you can hit that little piece of paper and give it a name, save it, and stuff like that. So that way when you're searching for your comps, you can just have fields out here that are easy to look at. That way you don't have to click on the MLS number, scroll down, and try to find that information. You've got that field on your grid display here. Anything else? Did these? Hopefully this helped you. I hope you guys saw some benefit to this. Shed some light on it a little bit. Any other questions? I don't see any new questions out there. Alrighty. This has been recorded, and I will post it out there hopefully here soon by the end of the day. Sometimes it takes... Oh, Chris, thanks. It worked on printing the photo. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for letting me know. That was something between Chris and I. She had sent me a question, emailed me a question. Okay. Well, pass the word around if anyone needs help doing CMAs. If you think this is beneficial, once we post it, just tell them to go and watch the video, the recording of this. If there's any specific other topics that you'd like for us to do a webinar on, let us know, and we'll do more of these out there. Just let Stan or myself know. We'll be glad to do them. Okay, well, thanks you guys for your time today, and hope you guys have a great weekend, and if I don't talk to you, have a Merry Christmas. Thanks you guys.